So if let me see, nobody's dropped into the chat where you guys are from. I'm just going to mute us all as we go through, and then we can get started. Okay. Yes, we're in Tallahassee, Dallas, Texas, Allen, Texas. Fantastic, fantastic. Hey, we have quite a few people. It's an interesting time with technology and what you can do. First thing this morning, we were sitting chatting with the East Coast in Australia. And now we're here, jumping all over the United States. Brilliant. I love it. I love it. All right, I'm going to share my screen, and then we are going to get cracking. Where did my screen go? Oh, there you go. There you go. All right, welcome everyone. It is Tuesday. It's coming up to 8 o'clock. It's just gone 8 o'clock here on the East Coast in Florida. And there are some people going back a couple of hours across the country. My name is Knut. Julie is my wife. You can see her on the screen here. And Julie and I came to the United States some 11 years ago. I have a background from the military, and I spent 40 plus years in computers. That's actually what Source come over to the United States. First to Birmingham, Alabama, and the last 10 years here in Florida. Julie has a background as a police officer in Australia. She retired like a little girl in 2005, thereabouts, after 20 years of service in the police force in New South Wales. She's an avid tennis player, and that's actually how we come to find what we're going to be talking to you about tonight. I myself, I kind of sat on the fence when Julie came around with this magic little thing, and kind of watched her get into it and saw what it could do. And I realized that there was an extra opportunity here for myself to maybe get out of the workforce in not too distant a future, because there is a very amazing opportunity at the back here of this, what we're going to be talking about tonight, about an opportunity to set yourself up for a reasonable amount of money or an income stream, or a lot if you so desire. But first of all, what do all of these people on these pictures, and this includes you as well, what do we all have in common? We all have in common something called stem cells. Now, I had heard about them a couple of years back. I heard about them in around 2010 or 2013 when we moved to the United States. I had some issues with my knees, and I thought it might be a good idea to try to have some stem cells injected in my knees. But at that moment in time, it was going to cost me $7,500 per knee, and no one can guarantee anything, whether it would work or not. So I thought, I think I can find other ways to spend $15,000 on. So the challenge we have with stem cells, and technology will beat me one day, there we go. The problem we have is that the older we get, the less stem cell activity and the fewer active stem cells we have. When we are born, we are basically a soup of stem cells. The stem cells are used as the universal building blocks of our body, so they can turn themselves into any other cell that the body requires, be it a liver or heart, intestine, skin, anything else that the body needs to grow from being infant all the way up to the mid-30s. But the challenge happens when we hit around 30. At that moment in time, 50% or more has gone dormant. Of the stem cells that we have, they've gone dormant. And this is where aging sets in. By the time we are 60, I'm turning 60 myself this year, and almost 100% of all the stem cells in your body have gone dormant. The real consequence of that is very simple. It means that you age faster, and the healing of your body takes longer. So if we go back when we were, say, 10, 15 years of age, and we cut ourselves in the finger in the kitchen, well, of course, we rinse it off, put some Band-Aid on, and a couple of days later, it's good. When we're 60, 65, 70, that same incident takes a lot longer to heal. And what has happened is that there are fewer stem cells that can run to the particular area in your finger and help create new skin cells. That in itself that's something that just happens. We go to the doctor, we have some aches and pains, and the doctors go, well, it's called aging, Knut. You're just getting old. Hey, I can give you some pills to mask the symptoms of getting old. But what if you could reactivate your own stem cells without injections, without prescriptions, without going to the doctor, without any pills, but you use the body itself? That would be rather remarkable, wouldn't it? And that's exactly what we have here. The LifeWave X39 patch is really the holy grail of aging, age reversal and rejuvenation. Natural healing, basically. This little patch, I had one here, but yeah, there we go. This little patch, it looks like a little, like a quarter, size of a quarter. It's got medical grade adhesive on the back. The Band-Aid or the plaster itself, the plastic itself is, you can be very, very sensitive to a lot of different things. Most people will never ever react with this particular plastic or the glue on the back. On the back of this little patch is organic. There's a pattern of organic nanocrystals, and what they do, they reflect your own infrared light back into your own skin. So you can say that you're almost like a battery or an energy source for your own healing. And the net effect of bouncing this particular wavelength of infrared light back into your own skin, it activates something called a GHK copper peptide in your body. Now, there has been ample research on GHK copper peptide, GHK-Cu. There are more than 100, and I think it's more than 130 studies at PubMed.gov of what GHK copper peptides actually do. It's well researched, it's well established, well documented, tested, everything else, that when the GHK copper peptide is reactivated or activated, it will activate your stem cells, your own stem cells. So just to cover this, you have probably about 3 different ways that you can reactivate your own stem cells, or you can have stem cells start repairing your body, I should say. First one is that they stick a big needle in your stomach, they suck out some blood of your own, and they spin it around in a high-speed centrifuge. They get some stem cells. More often than not, they're not particularly active, and they condense them and they push them back into your own body. Here in the US, that can only be done into your own joints. And a lot of people will spend thousands of dollars on doing this on their own. There are other places in the world where you can run out to a hospital or somewhere in, for example, 2 or 3 hours flight away from the United States, and they will insert it into soft tissue as well. The second way is to use, of course, first go back to the first one. Of course, then it gets even more expensive. We're talking $3,000 to $5,000 to $25,000, $35,000 just for the treatment. Now you have to factor in flights, you have to factor in accommodation, time off work, and whatever. The second one is umbilical stem cells. Number one, it is not your own DNA. And I for sure do not want to mix my DNA with anybody else's. That's one thing for sure. It's highly uncertain, and I'm not even sure that I would consider it ethical myself. Be that as it may, it is that second option. The third option, and you're looking at it, it's the only stem cell activation technology in the world. It's patented, And you yourself is the energy source, and you yourself have the ability to turn on your own reactivation of your own stem cells. That is something that is unheard of, and this product has only been on the market for 3 years, 3.5 years now. So with all of that said and done, the stem cell rejuvenation can do a lot of different things in your body. And you see 8 bullet points here now. Which one would you pick for yourself? Would it be pain relief? Would it be faster recovery from exercise, improved skin appearance, mental clarity? I mean, as we grow older, sometimes you just have a mental fog, brain fog. We were down in Fort Lauderdale a couple of weeks back. Gentleman sat at the back, didn't say anything all the way through. And at the end, I catch up with him and I point to this. I said, hey, buddy, which ones of these would be important to you? He goes quiet for about 15 seconds and he goes, reduce inflammation. I could not have told by simply looking at him that that was what he was looking for. Wound healing, people have been to surgery, people fall over, break an arm, break a leg, cut themselves, all sorts of other things happen. And there's some remarkable results just in terms of speeding up the time, getting back to work, getting back, being active again. And there's some remarkable pictures in a couple of slides. But hang on to this and think about, well, what if we could actually do something here? Because we have thousands and thousands of testimonials in virtually every single aspect of what you see here on the screen. Lifewave is the company that have the patents, have the organization that actually takes this product to market. The gentleman you see at the back there is a guy called David Schmidt. I'll talk a little bit about him in a few seconds. The company itself was founded in 2004, which means that next year the company is turning 20 years old, or young, I probably should say. The company is open in 75 plus countries, meaning that the products are available in 75 plus countries around the world. That should also allay a lot of suspicion or fear, because what it means is that the regulatory governance in 75 plus countries around the world said that this product is okay. And millions of people are using the Lifewave patches. In fact, the company has its goal to get into 1 billion homes around the world. Now, lastly, for those of us that are numerically inclined, in 2018, the company turned over $23 million. We just came from an amazing conference in Tampa, and it was mentioned on stage that this year, it looks like the company is cracking $400 million. That's almost a 20-fold increase in turnover in the space of 5 years. That is unheard of. I come from an IBM background. I have worked in software sales for years. And when I see those sorts of numbers, I'm going, okay, I'm going to pay attention, because there's something going on here that might not be easily seen by the naked eye, but it warrants further looking into. The guy I was mentioning, this is David Schmidt. He is the CEO, the founder, and the inventor of X39. We heard this weekend that he now has more than 180 patents to his name. The latest patent was only issued 2 weeks ago. And from what he said, is that it took 3 months to have it issued. The very first patent that he got with the patches took 11 years to get through. So he basically revealed that the products that he just had patented is a whole brand new product category that the American Patent Office had no category for. Therefore, the product could be patented very quickly. Super nice guy, humble, but also super smart. The company, the technology itself, it's the only stem cell activation reactivation product in the world. No one else has it. It's safe, effective. There's no drugs involved. There is it's completely non-transdermal, so nothing goes through your skin, and there are no side effects. And we are FDA registered and regulated. That's important as well. And what you can see here on the right is an actual copy of or picture of the patent that was issued in July 2020. That means that as we sit today, we have another 17 years of it being patented before anyone else can start using it. That's 17 years. The stem cell market itself is huge. It's growing at a rate of knots. And I might say this again later, but it's growing towards $300 billion a year. Because what the stem cell market can do, or the stem cells, when they're reactivated, they can do something that medicine cannot. It can heal the body from within. Natural regeneration and rejuvenation. The patch is very simple, easy. You wear the patch for 12 hours. Then you take it off and throw it away. Next morning, you put another patch on and repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. Wash, rinse, repeat. We suggest that you put it on top of your neck or underneath your belly button, but it can be placed anywhere. If you have an injury, you knocked you cut your arm or something like that, there's no problem sticking it next to the bandage on the skin, because this is a patch that's systemic. In other words, when stem cells are reactivated, they flow through your system and they go where they're needed. But of course, the closer to the point where you have an injury, the faster that area will have more stem cells regenerated and rejuvenated. One word here is that make sure that you drink ample amounts of water. We're suggesting at least 18 ounces of water every day, at least. That's water, not soda, not pop, not coffee, not tea, pure water, just pure water, nothing else added to it. Your body, when you put the patch on your skin, your body will begin to, in most cases, slightly detoxify. The body will start reactivating up to 4,000 genes, and they themselves spool up your system and make your cells more productive and help repair the system. You will also find that if you do have some inflammation, is that these stem cells that are reactivated will go to work and, should we say, flush the system from that inflammation. Thus, you will have some detoxing that more likely than happen than not. And that's quite important to remember, because people go, well, I'm not feeling anything. Well, I think the key here is that you might not necessarily feel anything. More often than not, it's actually it's the lack of feeling something. Oh, my back isn't hurting anymore. My shoulder isn't hurting anymore. My neck isn't hurting anymore. So we also then recommend that you wear the patches for a number of months that is equal to the number of decades that you have been alive. So I'm 60 this year. That means that for an optimum result, I have at least 6 months on the patches, because it takes time to rejuvenate and regenerate at a deep level. If you're 35, at least 3.5 months. If you're 70, 7 months. I get the question all the time, which is, do I have to stay on these patches forever? No, not at all. But I'm of the opinion that if I spend 6 months, being 60, to regenerate and rejuvenate my body, reversing the age of my vascular system, I don't want to stop. We have this fandangled set of scales in the bathroom at home. It measures your weight, the fat percentage, muscle mass, and everything else. But it also gives my biological age, not my chronological age. My chronological age is 60. This morning, my biological age was 41. So my cells are rejuvenating and regenerating. So if you go to the 6-month scale here, The heart reverses in age. There's new muscle growth, and internal organs and nerves are rehabilitated. As David Schmidt says, this is not anti-aging, it's age reversing. Within 3 months, the collagen in your skin has increased. In other words, lines and wrinkles are reduced or gone. Within 6 weeks, your brain is beginning to rebalance. What does that mean? Well, people who are depressed, has anxiety, PTSD, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, it aligns the brain, allows it to reduce the inflammation that's gone. There's a research paper on one of the web pages where they go through, I think it's 20 different people. They use some very sophisticated equipment, and everybody has, when they get started, their brain is basically red, just like flame red. And that is stress, inflammation. And after 6 weeks, most of them have turned to completely either green or blue. i.e. the stress is gone, everything else. I would like to share a story on this one for a second. There's a friend of ours now, a guy called Matthew. I met him at a function here in Tallahassee some 8 weeks now ago. And he stood out. He was speaking extremely fast, jumping from a topic to the other very, very quickly. And I thought, oh, this is something going on here. So after the meeting, we met up, and I learned that he had Asperger's. Asperger's is a subset of autism. And I thought, well, I think this patch could be able to help, because I had read somewhere, and I read this within 6 weeks. 5 days later, we meet up at his mom's. He is actually 48, she's 78. And we met at her home, and we put a patch on his neck. And within 15 minutes, he goes, Mom, I can see my brain is beginning to slow down. So I said to him, hey, Matthew, do you mind if I put an X39 patch on your temple, on your left temple? He goes, sure. So I'm holding the X39 to his temple. And within 3 seconds, he goes, Mom, I can see my brain slow. So I take the patch away. I didn't stick it on, I just took it away. And he goes, no, put it back. He's been on the patches now for 2 months. And anybody who has known him for years now in Tallahassee goes, Matthew, what drugs are you on? He goes, none. And he just points to the patch. That's pretty remarkable. And his professors and his doctors, they're going, we need to look into this. And yeah, there's a lot of things happening in this space that are so important for everyone around us, especially after the last 3 years, where people have been stressed, people have been depressed, and all of that. So we have an enormous opportunity to share this with people and allow people to get off the merry-go-round bandwagon of medications. It is cruel not to go out and share this with people whom we love, whom we care for, and we know they're having issues. We got to get back to being able to help and share and care for each other again. And it brings me immense joy when that happens. We have some testimonials around. This lady at the top, Rosemary, look at the difference in the collagen in her cheeks and on her neck. No injections, no pills, no lasers, simply wearing this funny little X39 patch. We are not diagnosing or making any claims. We are just seeing real results from real people. The guy here on the right, he fell through the rafters and broke 6 ribs, and from what I understand, he also punctured his lung. And just to the left, to the right, underneath the 17 on June the 17th, you can see the patch stuck to his back. In 13 days, Look what the patches and what his body himself has managed to get done. The doctor said you will get back to work in 6 weeks. Can you see that June 30, he was back at work the week of July the 7th? That is remarkable. That is just remarkable. Bunion surgery in the middle down the bottom. Literally a month. There's next to no scar to be seen. And again, it X39 to the rescue. This lady here on the bottom left, look at the way the whole face has lifted. The collagen has regenerated, puffed itself back up. It's the same lady, but it is simply remarkable to see what the patches can do in that time period. The gentleman on the left, 2 months on X39, look at the thickness of his hair, how it's growing, and it's dark again. And this guy in the middle, that's actually me. The first picture on the left there in that turquoise, if a man can say turquoise. I'm not sure he can, or is it blue, is it green? I don't know, I'll call it turquoise. That is me in May 2022. In September, and I swear I did not go to the gym, I didn't lift any weights, I didn't change the way I was eating, I did not stop having a beer. That is the difference just wearing the patch. You know, as an extra benefit, I've been a software developer for a long time, and I was suddenly writing code, doing things, software development, that normally would take me quite some time. I got done in a quarter of the time. Mental clarity, focus, it is just unreal. I'm going to stop here for a second, stop the share, and I'm going to go to some audience participation. So anyone who would like to jump in here with a testimonial, what observations they see themselves having had as a result from using the patches for a month, a day. Anyone out there? Janet, you're waving your hand. Good evening, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, Presidential Director Janet Kiefer.
Hi, everyone. We had a fun day with a whole bunch of people today sharing LifeWave stories, and it was so fun. One guy says, I can move my shoulder now. I haven't been able to move it in about 3 months because of a rotator cuff. I said, how long you been on the patches, Dave? He goes, 3 weeks. Another woman said, I couldn't sleep through the night. She goes, now I am sleeping through the night. And then I wake up at 6 and don't want to get up. And I wake up at 7, I don't want to get up. She goes, I'm sleeping around the clock. And she goes, I said, your body needs it, right? A third woman said, well, about 3 days into this, I just felt awful. And we said, yeah, are you drinking water? The body's starting to detox. And one gentleman brought up, he said, statistics show that if you've had surgery and had anesthesia, it takes the body about 6 months to clear out anesthesia, right? They don't tell us that. And here these patches are helping us detox and bring it out through the liver and help us heal and things. So it was a really fun day to see all the reactions and great things that are happening with people.
Great. Thank you, Janet. CJ.
Hey, Knut, how are you?
I'm good, ma'am. How are you?
Good, doing great. I've got lots of stories, but I saw an amazing result for a gentleman that came to our meetup on Sunday with Dr. Jeff and Barbara. And this gentleman had symptoms of the shaking, and specifically the shaking and trembling was on his right side, and he came in using a walker. But Dr. Jeff asked him if he could help him and patch him. He said yes. And he put an X39 on the back of his neck, and he put a glutathione on the right arm that was doing the shaking on the hand. And I was to this gentleman's right. In about 5 or 7 minutes, I interrupted the audience of their conversation. And I said, sir, I think that your arm has stopped shaking. Is that true? Can you feel that? He said, yes, it has. And I said, thank you. That's amazing. So just one little thing that happened, like so immediate, and just I'd not seen that with someone with this shaking condition before. So thank you, David Schmidt. Thank you for this technology.
Thank you, CJ. That's awesome. Fantastic. Anyone else out there waving?
Yes.
Okay, Barbara.
Hi, everybody. Some of you have heard this story before. It's the most powerful one for me personally, but it had an especially good effect today. When Janet called me 2 years ago about the patch, she did not know that I had recently learned that my kidneys were in trouble and that I was only one stage away from dialysis. And so when I heard this was about stem cells, of course I said yes. And the good news is my kidneys are now functioning normally. It took 14 months to completely have the numbers go up, up, up until I was back in the normal range. But definitely functioning normally. I just had another blood test. So for 7 months, I'm functioning normally and the number went up again. So today I was at the dental office and had my bling. Oh, I don't have it on my arm anymore, but I had a patch on my arm that had little blingy sparkles on it. And so we got into a conversation and I told that to the gal helping me. And she said, oh my gosh, you have to talk to the receptionist because she has been told she only has 6 to 7 years to live, that she'll never get better, and she's just about ready to go on dialysis. So when I went to pay my bill, we talked about it, and she was astonished that there was something that could help her, that there was hope for her. And she was young and beautiful. I mean, I don't think she was maybe more than 35 or 40. But and they have, I may not get her business because there's another client they have that's been trying to get them to pay attention to the stem cells. But I'm just so grateful that we had that conversation and that we could help that lady. So, keep telling people.
Awesome. We're changing lives one at a time. One by one by one, we're changing lives. That's superb. Thank you. Melissa, you're waving. Melissa?
Yes.
Here she.
Hi.
Hello.
So a lot of people heard this story, but for those of you who haven't, this is Teddy. These are my dogs barking. So Teddy was a kitty that I do a lot of dog and cat rescue in the DFW area, and he was a kitty that somebody found. He had gone up to their porch, and he obviously had a pelvis issue. So I took him to my vet the next day, and the vet took an X-ray and said yes, it was a pelvic fracture, but he said he's actually suffering from neuropathy and neurological issues. And my vet rarely says this, but he actually suggested putting him down because he had so much scar tissue. He was not able to move his back legs. And so I thought, no, I'll give him a chance. So I kind of reached out to CJ Breedson, and I said, what do you have for us? I'll try anything. And she introduced us to stem cells that night. And Teddy, we started putting him on the patch, like in a cage for 3 to 5 hours a day. And then he would get, kind of free roam. That was July 11th. Last week, he walked into his vet's office and the vet didn't recognize him. We've been documenting it. He walks completely normal. He's tired of being a dancing chicken. He's kind of an old guy. He's a little growly. But he's walking perfectly fine. CJ and I have been documenting all of it in video, and he's walking, not 100%, but 95, 97% better than he was. So he uses a litter box on his own, and he is completely not a cat that would have needed to be put down now. So we're very grateful, huh, Teddy?
Ozzy, that's fantastic. I love his ears.
Thank you.
Julia.
He's an older cat.
Okay. Awesome.
So he's sweet. Thank
Yes,
you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Julie, you were waving your hand. We've got a couple of more and then we'll move on.
Hi, everybody. I've been on this patch. I got introduced to the patch because I had a calf injury playing tennis. So I had no idea what inflammation was or anything back then. But anyway, I soon found out because I was back on the tennis court the next day. So that was pretty wow factor. Yeah. But honestly, so much has happened, and now I'm into the deep healing phase. It's like, you know, just the recovery is just phenomenal coming back. But I have had a lingering heart issue, and you know, I went I had to go into the cardiologist and what have you, and be told all the drugs I have to take for the rest of my life and all that stuff. And, you know, 5 patches that I put on for a particular issue with irregular heart rate, in 1 month had restored like my the ejection fraction. I'm trying to think of the other way to put it, how fast your blood pumps through your heart. It got it right back up to like a high grade, no side effects, no drugs. And I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, that was more than oh my gosh. So I just wanted to sort of give you another idea. But we also, that was, I mean, I'm just like full believer. But like we have dogs as well. And our dogs are like, I love the cat story. So yeah, our dogs just ask us for patches now.
Thank you, Julie. Kamei.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm going to share my pain story. I know a lot of you have heard it, but anyone that hasn't been on our calls hasn't. Last year, my friend Rosemary shared the patches or shared the technology with me, and I ignored her for 2 months, but I had been in chronic severe pain for 55 years. I was on 8 different pain medications, and the doctors did Botox injections in my back to control the spasming. And my next step to control the pain was to have my back fused from my tailbone up to my neck, and then have my SI joints screwed in place. And that didn't seem like it would take care of the pain. But anyway, that was the solution. So I finally watched the videos, and I told Rosemary, and because I was very skeptical. I was a doctor person. My doctor didn't tell me I didn't do it, even though I've had many procedures that have actually damaged me and harmed me. Anyway, so I put the X39 on the back of my neck, and the first day, I'm one of the strange people, or the lucky people actually, took my pain from a 7 to a 1 the very first day. So it enabled me to get off of 8 pain medications, including oxycodone, which I was given 60 a month. Oxycodone, and I'm down from 16 total medications for like blood sugar and cholesterol and GERD and things. I'm down from 16 to 4, and it took me 2 months to get off of the 8 pain medications, but the patches have done wonders in controlling my pain. In fact, I believe my back's getting better. And I can go like 3 or 4 days without my pain patches, and it's changed my life. I have energy, I look better, I feel better. It's detoxed all of those, or it's detoxing all those medications out of my body. I had shaking, didn't even notice that it was gone, but within 4 months it was gone, and my bone density was brought back to normal from osteopenia, and brought my FRAX score, which is the score that determines how likely it is that you would have a bone broken, from 20% to 2%. And this was all within 4 months. So it just gets better. It'll be a year for me next month. So I am a total believer. You're muted, Canute.
Not anymore. Thank you, ma'am. That is just awesome. Thank you. I hadn't heard that part before. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Kate, last one, ma'am.
Okie dokie. Well, this is a new one. I had a little tiny gizmo implanted in my chest. It was a loop recorder to monitor some heart things, and it was time for that to come out. And so he did a little cut here and then had to dig around under here, and he got the thing out. Well, he didn't like do a bunch of stitches. He put 1 stitch and a tiny bit of glue. The next day it opened up. I was not happy. And so I feel like I've got a dangerous thing. And I want you to know that that little procedure was done on the 5th. And today, I just checked it a minute ago, and it did wind up being an open gash looking thing, but now it went like a zipper from the top down. It's almost closed. And last month I had three of those C things on my face from the sun, and I had one long incision about 3 inches, and most of the steri strips have come off now. And he said, oh, but there'll be a scar there for months. It'll take a long time, for it to fade out. And as I can see half of it, and it looks like it's almost normal already. The power of the patches.
Actually, it's the power of the patches, but it's also the power over our own bodies.
Mm-hmm.
When the stem cells are reactivated, they are in a position to do what they should be doing and what they can be doing. But the catalyst is, of course, the patches. So thank you all. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I hope you all learned something. I definitely did in that little session, that's for sure. So I'm going to flip back. Let me see. Here we go. We go share screen again. And we keep on share. And here we go. All right. There is behind all of this, the patches themselves are basically, as a monetary value goes, the Exther9 patch runs at less than a cup of coffee a day. So if you think about that in terms of what it provides, in terms of re-enabling your body to heal itself from within, that is quite remarkable. However, even if you say $100 plus tax plus whatever for one sleeve of X39, most people, if they can, would like to have that paid for. And there is a system in place with LifeWave that you can actually have the patches paid for simply and very simply sharing this with friends, family, and relatives, acquaintances. Because we all know our people who are having some issues, who would like to have more energy, and all of that I went through those 8 bullet points at the front. But what's most important for you? I don't know. Is it family, spending time with the grandchildren? Is it time freedom? You see, I used to work for IBM. I earned a lot of money, but I had no time. What are you going to do with all the money if you haven't got no time? Well, you drink a fair bit of good wine, you go to some good restaurants, but at the same time, wouldn't you like to be spending some time with your partner? I married Julie because I want to spend time with Julie, not away from Julie, for example. You want some more security, financial security? You want travel? Get rid of the pesky credit card, pay off the car? I don't know what's important to you, but this opportunity that we have here with LifeWave, and remember, it operates in 75 plus countries. Julie and my business, we've only been going for just over a year. We're in 9 different countries. Do you know anyone? Some are not born in the United States. Do you know people in Europe? This is the amazing thing. The stem cell therapy business is booming. We drive it around with a little sign on the side of our car. And Julie was parked outside somewhere, and this lady walks past and says, "What, stem cell activation technology? I need to talk to you. Have you got a card?" So people are waking up to what the stem cells can do. The stem cell industry itself is expected to explode from 200 million a few years back to more than 300 billion in the next decade. And we had the patent for 17 years. The way I'd like to position this is very simple. If someone had told you in 2003 that there's a company about to release what's called a smartphone, the iPhone, and you can get in on it early, if you knew then what you know now, I think we all would have jumped on that opportunity, and it's the same what's happening here now. It is remarkable. Large pharmaceutical corporations are spending millions, if not billions, trying to find a way to get this thing activated. We already have it. Our compensation plan is very, very simple. The LifeWay compensation plan. We basically have what we call a left team and a right team. And if you, as you can see yourself sitting in the middle, if you know 2 people on the left or 2 people on the right, let's say on the right-hand side, you have your sister, and on the left-hand side, you have your colleague Mary and your colleague Paul. And they decided they're going to use the patches as well. And that moment in time, you basically have covered your initial investment in the patches. But as time goes by, these guys will probably share this with someone else, who will share it with someone else, who will share it with someone else. And as this thing builds out, at this level, just from this part of the compensation plan, you tap out at $25,000 a week. There's a certain structural requirements in place, but that's fine. But $25,000 a week, that's $1.3 million a year. That's not bad, not bad at all. It is a very, very lucrative compensation plan, but it gets better. And this is where the unlimited word comes in. So for example, if I introduce Julie, who introduced Janet, who introduced Barbara, well, if Julie starts earning a little bit of that bonus that I saw on the previous slide, because I introduced Julie, the company pays me an override, like a royalty bonus, or 25%, or whatever Julie is earning. So if Julie is earning $1,000 a week, the company pays me a 25% override because I found her. Then Julie found Janet. Janet does 1,000. Well, again, because I found Julie who found Janet, the company rewards me with 20% of what Janet is doing, and down to a maximum level of 3. So let's say $1,000 for each one of these. That means that there's $650 that is paid to me as a royalty bonus. But this is where it gets fascinating, and this is why the word unlimited is there. How many Julies can I find? How many Julies can I go out and find across the world that I know acquaintances? I bump into them at the post office. Julie had a fantastic result with someone at the post office 2 weeks ago. Out and about, speaking with people. We meet people all the time. There are some remarkable people out there who are looking for an opportunity. And remember, we are solution providers. We're providing solutions for health and a solution for people's wealth. Someone asked me the other day, is that if the economy continues the way it has been for the last 3 years and you don't do anything, is your pain level going to increase or is it going to decrease? Well, if you don't change anything, I'm pretty sure it will increase. So here we have an opportunity to help not only ourselves, we can help our friends, our families, and our communities. The company has as a goal to get into 1 billion homes around the world. And I think it's perfectly achievable. Help people get out and off pain medications. There's a lady in Australia, she's been on 24 milligrams of steroids every single day. She's just down to 4 now. She's after 5 months. She's down to 4 grams a day. Imagine what this does to people's families and all of that goes with the energy and everything else. So who do you know that needs stem cell activation benefits? People who want to have energy with their family, they want to travel, be able to play with the grandchildren on the floor. I just went through how you can cover the cost of the patches. Get with the person who invited you to this meeting. Check out the website called startx39now.com. There's a lot more information there. There are testimonials. There are medical or doctors themselves that are having testimonials of what they have seen and what they see in the patches. There's research information there as well. This is the way to sign up. We basically, it's straightforward. If you just want to check this out for yourself, is $299.95. That's a saving of $150 compared to retail price. Just for you to research yourself. If you find yourself that you will go, just, yeah, I think I can maybe make a little bit of extra money. Maybe I can cover the patches. I would recommend that you head towards the gold package. That saves you around $300 compared to retail price. If you want to kick this and you go, well, let me at it. I am short of time. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I would like to have an extra income stream. I'll replace my income stream. Top end, you get that's $1,600 plus tax plus shipping, but you get 3 free sleeves of X39 in that price. And you have product on hand to help people get going right away. The other benefit, of course, with the diamond pack is that you will, for 14 weeks, anyone that you personally introduce, you will get a $500 sign-on bonus for each one of those going forward as well. So you can cover your own investment in the space of 2 to 4 to 6 weeks. That's your call. But we know that this thing works. In fact, we just came back from Tampa, as was said earlier. There's a 23-year-old guy on stage. His mum registered in July last year. It took her 5 months to reach the top of the bonus scale. He is 23. He just graduated from college. He has the highest rank in the company, and he's pulling north of $6,000 a week as a 23-year-old because he purchased a diamond pack and got going. That is just remarkable. Very simple. We have ample resources. We have a system in place to help you. We have a system in place with trainings on a weekly basis. We have a YouTube channel where the training videos are, where our system 331 is there. You can, all the lines, talking to people, how to show this to people, all of that is there. It is simple and it's easy. And the person who introduced you and invited you to come along, we're more than happy to work with you and help you succeed with this. I'm going to stop the share here now, and I'm also going to, Julie, can you stop the record?